Hello everyone, welcome back to Learn Economia. In the last video, if you remember, we have discussed the financial market, what you all want to know in summary. So the last particular video was just a summary of the financial market, what it is all about and all. And here in this video, we'll be discussing financial market instruments. So let's see what are financial market instruments first, and then we will be covering its types based on several classifications, etc. Now, financial market instruments are considered to be some legal agreements that require one party to pay money or to promise to pay under some stipulated conditions to a counterparty in exchange for the payment of interest, for the acquisition of rights, or for premiums against risk. Financial market instruments can be actual documents such as stock certificates or long contracts, or it can be standardized. It can be in a standardized form, or it can be stored in some electronic book entry form as a record, and the parties who come to contract can also be recorded here. Now, financial market instruments it's used by various financial market agents. It is not only used by individuals to transfer money from the payer. It can be used by companies. If it is used by companies, it could be mainly to raise money from investors, traders, or either speculate about future prices, index levels, or interest rates. Now, this financial market instruments can also be used to hedge risk. With that, we are moving to the types of financial market instruments. Here it is very important to understand that financial market instruments can be classified on the basis of several criteria. Here we will be covering some of the criteria based on which we could classify financial market instruments. So if you are looking financial market instruments based on exchanges of money for future interest payment and repayment of principal amount, then you can classify financial market instruments into loans and bonds and asset-backed securities. If we are dealing with loans and bonds, here a lender gives money to a borrower in exchange for regular payments of interest and the principal amount. Whereas in the case of asset-backed securities, lenders pool their loans together and sell them to the investors. Here lenders receive an immediate lump sum payment, which is known as the principal amount, and investors receive the payments of interest and principal from the underlying loan pool. Also, we could see that financial market instruments can be classified on the basis of exchanges of money for possible capital gain or interest. Here we can have stocks, funds, etc. If it is a stock, we could see that it is a company, there will be a company which sells its ownership interest in the form of stock to buyers of the stock. And in the case of funds, this is mainly classified into several aspects or several types, which include mutual funds, exchange traded funds, real estate investment trust, hedge funds, and many other funds of similar nature. And the fund buys other securities earning interest and capital gains, which increases the share price of the fund. Investors of the fund may also receive some interest payments, which we call as dividend. Now, also we could have different types of financial instruments based on exchanges of money for possible capital gains or to offset risk. Here we could have options and futures, currency, swaps, etc. If it is options and futures, then that means that these are financial instruments which are bought and sold either for capital gains or to limit some risk. If it is currency, we all know about currency and we use currency in our day-to-day life, and currency trading is done for capital gains to offset risk. It can also be used to earn interest as it is done to carry out trade practices and all. For instance, if you have a trader and if he is believed that the euro will decline with respect to the US dollar. That is his belief. So he is assuming, or he is expecting that the value of euro would come down with respect to US dollar. Then what will he do? He will buy dollars with euros. He will keep on accumulating dollars with euros because he's expecting that the value of euro will come down in the future. So this is the same thing as selling euros for dollars, right? That is buying dollars in exchange of euros. That is one side of the coin, whereas the other side is that in order to gain one additional euro, you are selling. In order to gain one additional dollar, you are selling what you have in your pocket in the form of euro, right? So if the euro does decline with respect to dollar, then the trader can close the position by buying more euros with dollars received in the opening trade. So this is all about the currencies in the financial market. That is when currency is acting as a financial market instrument. So this could be the main role of currency. Now we have swaps. What are swaps? Swaps are an exchange of interest rate payments calculated as a percentage of a notional principal that is paid at periodic intervals. One leg of the swap pays a fixed rate of interest and the other leg pays a floating rate of interest. So we have a combination of both fixed rate of interest and a floating rate of interest in the market when you have swaps. When you're dealing with swaps as your financial instrument. However, the only net amount is exchanged. Though you have two types of exchange rate, one fixed and the other floating rate, only the net amount is exchanged here. For instance, for example, you can have example to make a better idea of the thing. And so the example is like this. If the interest is based on the floating rate, then $1,000 greater than the interest based on the fixed rate on a payment date, then the party receiving the fixed rate would pay $1,000 to the party receiving the floating rate. Then the receiver of the fixed rate of interest enter into swap, usually to offset risk, while the receiver of the floating rate generally hopes to profit from the changes in the market interest rate. Usually floating rate is calculated as a spread above LIBOR rate, or we will be covering this LIBOR aspect, or LIBOR. This is an interest rate. So we will definitely deal with LIBOR in a separate video because there is whole lot to cover when it comes to LIBOR. So we will definitely deal with that. So whether it is LIBOR or some other benchmark such as treasuries with comparable terms, the same thing happens here. So if both legs of the swap pay in the same currency and the swap is not the interest rate swap, since both the fixed rate and floating rate are paid in the same currency. In contrast to this, if you have a different situation, for example, a currency swap. In the case of a currency swap, exchange of interest rate payments is paid in the form of currencies. So the net amount is calculated based on the exchange rate of the payment date. And then you can have other types of financial instruments as well. For example, if it is based on exchange of money for protection against risk, if it is if the classification of financial instruments are made based on exchanges of money for protection against risk, then you have in premium or insurance. For example, if it is in the case of insurance, there would be contracts to promise to pay for the loss of the event in exchange for a premium. If there is a loss, then the amount would be paid. Otherwise, you have to keep on paying premium. For instance, a car owner, when he buys a car, he also takes insurance. Why? Why is he taking insurance? He takes insurance so that he will be compensated for a financial loss that occurs as a result of an accident. So there is no surety that he will meet an accident. There is no surety that he will not meet an accident. But the car buyer is not ready to take risk. So he has fear in his mind that what would happen if I meet with an accident. It would be better if I get an insurance. So here what he does is that his expectation is what prompting him to take up insurance in order to hedge against risk. Now we have to look into the primitive securities and financial derivatives. What we have seen so far are modern financial instruments which are used in the financial market today. But this doesn't mean that these were used in the primitive days also. In the primitive days or in the past, we had some different kinds of financial securities or financial instruments. What made us to switch on to the modern financial instruments is a very important question to answer. So here we are going to answer what made us to switch on to the modern financial instruments, and what made us to get rid of, what made us to eliminate the use of the primitive securities of primitive financial instruments. This is very important aspect to consider. So in the past we could see that there was a custom uh, to use some kind of agreement to suit the needs of the parties involved. For example, if there is an agreement between two parties, they use some kind of a paper or a contract or something between them. However, such instruments are extremely considered to be illiquid. Illiquid means these cannot be converted into money so easily, because they are tailored to specific parties. If an instrument or contract or agreement is made that can be used for a particular reason only, or particular case only, this cannot be used for another case. So which made the primitive securities very much illiquid, which it could not be converted into money that easily. Furthermore, such instruments would take time for anyone to completely understand the details which would be necessary to assess the profit potential and risk. For example, if two parties A and B make an instrument and they have traded, and they have done away with the instrument after completing their all the things with this instrument, so they are selling, if they are selling this instrument to some other party, let it be let the third party be C. But uh, in order to make the person C aware about what are the criteria of this instruments, what are the guidelines to be followed and all, why this instrument is made and all, it would be very much difficult to make the person C to understand the rationale or the reason behind this kind of making of this particular instrument. As a result, this instrument is considered to possess some risk for the person C, for the third party. And the solution to this illiquidity is to create financial instruments based on some standardized contracts or some standard terms or some standard conditions. Such financial instruments are called securities, which can be traded in the financial market, such as organized exchanges or the over the counter market. Over the counter market, we have already discussed this term in our previous video. If you have not seen that video, please go and watch that video, so you will be able to understand what is over the counter market. Then furthermore, they are more easily stored in the electronic book entry form. What is electronic book entry form is? It is demat account. So every person who is trading, this is with respect to people or companies, if you are trading with respect to the financial instruments, then you should have a demat account. Demat account means all your information, all the trading details, everything is stored in the electronic book entry form. So dematerialization etc will be covered in our upcoming videos. So that too is a very important development in the financial market, so we will definitely touch upon that, and we will deal with that in a particular video. In a separate video we will deal with that, so please keep waiting, we will definitely put that video. Now so this electronic book entry form, what is the advantage of that? So this saves the cost of storing and transporting the instruments for clearing and settlement, because there is no paper entry here. Everything is entered in via electronic means. So if you can access your details wherever you are, that is the main advantage of this electronic book entry system. So examples here include stocks, bonds, options, and futures. Here, securities are classified as to whether they are based on real assets or other securities or some other benchmark. Primitive securities are based on real assets or on a promise of performance of the issuer. For example, in the case of bonds, if it is issued on the issuer's ability to pay interest and principal, then stocks depend on the performance of the company that issued the stocks. So this is the difference between bonds and stock. For that I hope you have understood. We have already covered this bond and stock and all in my previous video. If you have not watched that, please go and watch. That would give you a better understanding. If you want more discussion about that, we will definitely, please comment on the comment box. I will definitely come and comment on that. And also, if you want a separate video for stocks, for bonds, etc., that for that also I'm ready, because understanding is what is the main importance here. So understanding of the concept, understanding of the difference between different securities, different financial instruments, all these are very much important, especially while we are dealing with, when we are dealing with the modern world. So if you want any kind of help in that respect, I'm ready. Please comment on the comment box. If you want details of stocks, bonds, its difference, etc., I'll do that. Now let's come back to the video. Financial derivatives are based on underlying asset, which consist of other financial instruments of some benchmark. For example, stock indices, interest rates, or credit events. If you so I'll give you a trick right now here. Financial derivatives, its name suggests it is derived from some other underlying asset. Derivative means its value is something that is derived out of some other underlying assets. So this link you can keep in your mind. So this is what financial derivatives are, and we can have stock indices, interest rate, credit events, etc. For example, the value of stock options depends upon the price of the underlying stock, and mortgage-backed securities depend upon the underlying pool of mortgages. So that is what I said. Financial derivatives is something which its value depend upon the underlying assets. With that, we are going to end this particular video, but I'll be very soon back with a very new video. Please like, share, and subscribe this channel for more videos. Thank you.